We continue with the return of Rusto versus the green one. The green one's a very good ODM player. Rusto, I don't remember how good he was, honestly. I just remember his picture on Discord was like this sword, kind of bluish, yellowish. So I remember that. I remember he was around, then I remember he was not around. So I'm always happy to see a returning face. It means people haven't given up on the game just yet. Empire versus VC, a classic. Triple War Wagons, Outriders Grenade Launchers to clear out some Graveguard stuff, Boris Toddbringer, Triple Knights of the Blazing Sun, a Hellblaster Volley Gun, and some Spearmen to defend it with a Firecaster Burning Head as his only spell. I like this, especially with the changes somewhat recently to the game, like in the last half a year. Fire damage reduces healing. We have been seeing that get used slowly more and more as the patches go on, but it is rather effective, especially against something like the Vampire Counts where they have a lot of passive slow healing. So that could be good. For the Vampire Counts, before they lose their entire front line, we do have some zombies, the Konigstein Stalkers, Necromancer on his corpse cart with Manfred up in the sky, Fate of Buna for him, so I imagine those Outriders with grenade launchers have an extremely limited lifetime, as they're going to die right now. White King, some Fellbats, Crypt Ghouls, Direwolves, and then 2 Blood Knights. Cool. Anyway, Fate of Buna goes burr and say goodbye to the Outriders with grenade launchers. Hellblaster Volley Guns trying to poke down the White King, who is on horse, making him a little bit easier for target. And that Fate of Buna has shattered. Yep, shattered the Outriders grenade launchers, just a Fate of Buna cast. I hate that spell. I get it. I understand why it's in the game. I still hate it. It deletes all my cool Skaven units. Knights of the Blazing Sun getting some good cycle charging on the front line to further whittle them down, and Manfred took a lot of damage from the War Wagons poking at him. Fellbats dive in on the Hellblaster Volley Gun crew, though, determined to stop those Sigmarites from firing as the Crypt Ghouls close in on the back line. So far, Green One has only lost some zombies, nothing he cares too much about. The health on Manfred he would want back, but other than that, he's doing okay with what's going on here. Fellbats are going to die for their sins, but their sins do culminate in a Hellblaster Volley Gun getting knocked offline. A huge Scab Scrape from the White King. Takes a lot of damage off the Spearmen, but also kind of seals the fate of the Hellblaster Volley Guns. They're not going to rally now, especially not with the Vampire Counts all in the backfield. There's an Unholy Blob forming for the Empire, which is prime target for Manfred's Dragon's Breath, if he can get in range to use it. Looks like he's just going to use it on the front line instead. He's at such an extreme angle, and they're in a perfect line. They should still do a lot of damage. No, he, for some reason, targeted the nearest unit. Not the player's fault, but, like, you hate to see it when they decide to do that. Crypt Ghouls got wrecked by Knights of the Blazing Sun on the charge. And Boris and the War Wagons are kind of trying to save the Hellblaster Volley Gun, but it's not looking like it's going to work. It doesn't even have positive leadership yet. The Undead have lost so many troops. They've lost 500 models. But the bounce power is actually in their favor because, you know, zombies don't matter. In comes a Burning Head down the line of these zombies. Going to kill off another one. Even more Vampire Counts troops to just put in the grave. Again. The War Wagons are firing at zombies as they try to get in range of Manfred. Manfred's going to take a duel with Boris. With the War Wagon support, he should actually take a significant amount of damage here, so I wonder how this will go. Though so far his dragon attack animations have made him squirrelier than you would expect. Still taking a lot of damage, though. Knights of the Blazing Sun charging down Konigstein Stalkers, Spearmen beating up on the zombies who are already significantly weakened by grenade launchers and burning heads and all that stuff, yada yada, so forth. In come the Blood Knights, though, charging against the Knights of the Blazing Sun. They actually back off, though if the Blood Knights can ever get onto the War Wagons, that will be a terrible time for the War Wagons. Is this an overextension by either party? Now, Manfred's taking a lot of damage even while healing up from Invocation of Nehek. He even starts to crumble a little bit, but Boris has landed in the Blood Knights. Is this going to be a Lord for Lord trade, which actually might favor the Empire, to be honest? Like, the Vampire Counts Lord is always such a key part of their faction that if you can take him out, that's huge. But both sides get to safety. Knights of the Blazing Sun peeling for Boris and the Blood Knights peeling for Manfred. Both sides do get to safety, so that works out. Knights of the Blazing Sun finish off a Direwolf. A Burning Head should kill off the Crypt Horrors. Crypt Ghouls. So he's saying Crypt Horrors because nobody takes the fucking Crypt Ghouls. Blood Knights are trying to shut down the War Wagons. A couple of their models are in contact, so they will start to get down some damage here and there. Ooh, and this is going to be bad for the Empire. Both their War Wagons getting sandwiched by the Blood Knights, taking a lot of damage. They can try and run. They'll do a little bit of damage on the way out, but it shouldn't be enough for them. Scab Scraith goes through some of these guys. Knights of Blazing Sun, all blinking leadership bars. Could rout at any moment. And Manfred is just pieced out. Yeah, he's staying really far away from the War Wagons, as he just offers his services from a distance. Blood Knights running up to Boris, but they lose their Flag of Blood Keep if they're in melee, so they do need to separate out from these things if they're really going to survive the War Wagons. War Wagons running out of HP in some areas. Like, these guys are mostly caught up, so they actually should start taking significant damage in a second here as the Blood Knights actually start attacking them. There they go. Another Burning Head onto the Crypt Ghouls to kill them off. But a big breath attack from Manfred in return against the Spearmen of the Empire. And the Vampire counts went from 1,600 troops to 350, while the Empire is still at 450. Bounce power is dead even, maybe even Vampire counts favor, and I actually do agree with that. Invocation hack onto Blood Knights trying to heal them up, but they are on fire from the Knights of Blazing Sun, so they're not going to get as much healing as they might expect. Where was that other War Wagon? I thought there was one, like, behind me. Oh, it looks like they made it all the way over here. So yeah, the War Wagons are kept alive. And the Knights of the Blazing Sun getting hit with a Fate of Buna from Manfred. He is done messing around with these guys. Fellbats dive in onto the War Wagons. They'll get a little bit of damage, but they're also mostly here to waste some War Wagon ammunition. And the Knights of the Blazing Sun have an impressive 25% spell resistance, but a Fate of Buna when you're that low on HP is probably just going to be the death knell for you as a unit. 3, 2, 1... Yeah, they died entirely. Manfred's still very low. Our White King is trying to duel with Boris. Meanwhile, another Burning Head goes down the line of the Königstein Stalkers, just trying to finish those guys off. But a response from the White King and the Scab Scraith, so it looks like both sides are going to lose that unit involved in that fight. Manfred is getting really, really low. So are his Blood Knights. And it looks like his other Blood Knight is dead somewhere. Nice shot onto the Spearmen, but the War Wagons continue to poke Manfred down as he opts out of here. Gonna get away. If the White King can somehow kill Boris, maybe there is a way for the Vampire counts here, but it's looking suspect. War Wagons still have 12 volleys, 0 volleys, and 6 volleys. So we'll see. Necromancer does offer a little bit of healing and stats if he can get back into the fight somewhere. Does Manfred have summons? Yeah, he has all 7 of his raids dead summons. Ooh, that could be something. Oh, that was a really bad volley, though. He starts to back off. With that last Fate of Unity cast, I don't know how much Winds Magic he has to heal himself or anything. But War Wagons are just going after him, while the White Kings and Blood Knights trying to peel them off. Necromancer's taking a lot of damage from Boris. The Blood Knights catch the War Wagons. They're already out of ammunition. And the Invocation hack goes on the Blood Knights instead of Manfred. It's not a bad decision. I think either is a fine target. Necromancer dying does reduce the balance of power by quite a bit. Army losses is closing in on the Vampire counts. White King takes a nasty charge from Boris. And the Blood Knights, do they bother charging Boris? It looks like they do. They're going all in on the Lord Snipe against the Empire. Getting some decent damage down. A Burning Head won't do that much damage to these forces, but it will reduce their natural healing, so it's something, but they do dodge to avoid it. Manfred's just trying to stay alive. I wonder if he has Invocation of an Heck for himself or a Zombie Summon to help out the Blood Knights, though we can't get in range to use the Zombie Summon, or these War Wagons will poke away at him again. Not something he can particularly afford. White King is in deep, getting hit by Boris, but it looks like it was all a bait to get a rear charge for the Blood Knights. They should rout off the Knights of Blazing Sun. They should rout off the Spearmen. It's a mass rout. More Spearmen going to get going, and another Invocation to heck out. This one for the White King, as Manfred refuses to use it on himself. He's trying to outpace the War Wagons, but they're actually faster than him at this point. His 81 speed is a lie since he's wounded, I believe. He does chuck out a Zombie Summon to try and stop them in place. Still not using the Invocation of a heck on himself, as of course it is on cooldown from the White King, obviously. Boris is taking a lot of damage. Knights of the Blazing Sun do rout off. Still have Spearmen nearby, but it doesn't look like it's enough to save the Elector Count of Midland. Manfred's trying to dodge as the War Wagons continue to just move up. They have 2 volleys on one, 10 volleys on another. Manfred, I like that he's been using the Invocation Tax on the Blood Knights. That is pretty huge, but I think if he can, he should spare one for himself, like right now, just to survive the War Wagons, but he can't do it. He is down, he is gone, but so is Boris, and the balance of power is all of a sudden looking a lot better for the Vampire Counts, but can they really hold on? Blood Knights are going to start crumbling soon. White King tries to finish off Boris. It looks like Boris is going to shatter, but he's not dead just yet. There he goes. He dies, which sends the Empire into mass exodus. All the Spearmen are routing. Some are even starting to shatter. The Bright Wizard's starting to shatter, and the War Wagons running out of ammo, and some of them are shooting at the zombies. I think because they have attack orders onto something. That is a known, like, not really, well, it is a bug, but it's not like a bug that, like, is going to get fixed. I think it's just a gameplay mechanic. But if you have attack orders onto something that's out of range, if something has, like, 360 shooting, it'll just shoot at shit that's nearby because it can. Blood Knights are chasing off the Bright Wizard. The War Wagons are dying slowly to the zombies, who will fade away, and the Empire really needs them to fade away so that the balance of power looks a little better. Now, it is just a 100 gold unit, but still, just having anything go off the field would be good for them. 5 shots left on the War Wagons, but they're still hitting some zombies occasionally to try and take out the White King. I think the Counts have it, though. That is army losses. GG. Very well played by both players. And a good scrap back for the Vampire Counts. Boris did well. Burning Headcaster got rid of a ton of random troops. Knights of Blazing Set did fine. The Hellblaster Volley Gun, unfortunately, was just not up to the task. War Wagons did incredibly well. And then Fate of Buna knocked out the grenade launchers before they get too much done. Manfred played really well. You know, some good breath attacks, some good Fate of Bunas, stuff like that. White King, an amazing 2,600 value, which is pretty gigantic. Blood Knights also getting a ton of value. And then nothing else really living up to the task. I mean, Fellbats did well. Their value's not going to indicate how well they did, but they chased stuff off. They're good. Roar. Subscribe, yes, yes.